Welcome to Singapore, a tiny island city-state packed with 5.5 million people at insane density. But if you, dear viewer, ventured forth into the Lion City, you'd find this place unlike anywhere else. For starters, she's the only fully functioning city-state in the world, being independent, paying for herself, and having a real fighting chance. Built entirely on immigrants, she is home to, in decreasing order of population, Chinese, Malay, Indian, and other groups. Different cultures, different religions. Those religions are, in decreasing order of population, Buddhist, Christian, non-religion, Islam, Taoist, Hindu, and a bit of everything else, making her the most religiously diverse country in the world. Everyone's also super tolerant, save for Jehovah's Witnesses. Christmas, Diwali, Vesak, Ramadan, and the Lantern Festival are all celebrated by the city. It's not uncommon to cross-celebrate each other's festivals as well. And of course, there's different languages too. She has 4 unrelated national languages which are all actively encouraged in her society, which is crazy for her size. Anyone who comes from a family native to those languages is taught in both English and their mother tongue at school. Around town though, people get by with English. Well, sort of. While English is technically the linking language and while everyone technically learns it in school, her streets say otherwise. They speak Singlish, a sort of blend between Chinese languages, English, Malay, and Tamil, but also influenced by European, Indian, and Sinitic languages, and sometimes a mix of all that with American and Australian slang thrown in? Who knows? Either way, the government hates it and passes it off as bad English, keeping it away from Singaporean identity by blocking it wherever it can. That same government manages an economy, at the time of this video, the size of the Philippines, who have 20 times the population, and pulls off a technically better standard of living than even you, Sweden. So just how did this food-fusing, language-melding, business hub, super-developed city-state come to be? Because empire. After being established, breaking off, conquered, and raised, Britannia stopped by and gained this fair isle in 1819 using her vast riches to help angry nobles, friendly to Britannia, take the regional throne. She rose from jungle to prosperous port thanks to 100,000 immigrants in her first 50 years. Not all was well though. Among several problems, opium addiction and prostitution nicknamed the port Sin Galore. Singapore actually headquartered the Southeast Asia branch of the Chinese revolutionaries who would topple the 400-year-old Qing dynasty and ended over 4,000 years of dynastic Chinese rule in 1911. Britannia, being a bit occupied in World War II, let Japan take her Malayan colonies in 1942. After fending herself against massacre, forced assimilation, and abandonment, Singapore was rescued in 1945 but wanted no more to do with her mother and joined the new fad of colonial independence. After stepping into the world in 1959, the now independent colonies of Malaya, Singapore, Sabah, and Sarawak came together in 1963 to make Malaysia. Now leader Lee Kuan Yew led her in hoping for united trade, progress, and security. One part ideology, one part economy, and one part racist policy, Malaysia tried to boss Singapore around. This obviously didn't work out and led to a divorce in 1965. While independence was technically guaranteed from the UN, Commonwealth, and later ASEAN, Singapore didn't have much footing to step forward on. To the world, she was a little island without any big prospects. Lee and the crew worked ruthlessly with the principles of meritocracy, people are chosen completely on skill, pragmatism, logic and experience over theory, and honesty, anti-corruption and accountability to make Singapore. Rapid industrialization and development in the 70s and 80s allowed them to project Singapore a corruption-free, developed place open for easy business where nearly a quarter of all trade passes through, and it worked. Today, she is the Switzerland of the East. Today's Singaporean economy mainly runs by taking in raw resources and selling them out manufactured, kind of like steel in, electronics out, but more importantly, being a place where people, corporations, or countries with lots of money can come to conduct business safely, and having big trade deals with all of these countries doesn't hurt. So all is well in Singapore, right? Not quite. Lee committed his actions through curbing freedom and censoring dissent when needed, a legacy partly seen in today's Singapore. Strict laws are in place, from not flushing to drinking or spitting publicly to connecting to Wi-Fi without permission. You could find yourself fined $100,000 for just repeat offenses of selling gum. Misbehave in school, break certain laws, or disobey military orders, and you'll be caned. And though the charts show the average Singaporean richer than the average American, they hide the real wealth gap between rich and poor. Thanks to meritocracy, many people are raised with a competitive mindset, rise in society first, regard for others second. Yet for many of the 5.5 million people living here, it's worth it. After all, Singapore is a success story for what she had to start with and an inspiration to any rising nations.